Hey, my name's Elizabeth Hernandez. That's my cat Levi, and I'm a reporter with the Denver Post. It is my dream job. I'm so excited that I get to be a journalist and write for the Denver Post, the biggest news outlet in the state. Um, so let me tell you a little bit about being a journalist and what it entails. Um, I have wanted to be a journalist my entire life, pretty much. I knew I wanted to be a writer from the time I was really young. I love writing, and I wanted to find a job where I could write every single day and get paid to do that. And that's what journalism is. And in addition to just enjoying writing, what I learned once I started doing journalism a little bit more was it's a great job for someone who is curious. If you really like finding things out and learning new things and talking to smart people about parts of the world or politics or the environment or education. I cover higher education, so I do a lot of stuff about colleges, and I often write stories for students and younger readers. That's kind of my niche, my area. Um, but you could do journalism about a lot of different things that you're interested in. So if you're interested in sports and you really like writing, you could look into being a sports journalist. If you are interested in like criminal justice and you're interested in how the courts work and how um, holding police accountable and all of that kind of stuff, you can do that. A lot of the job is just really listening to people and hearing their stories and telling those stories in an engaging way that captures the reader's attention. As a local reporter, we typically attend a lot of public meetings. So we go to like city council meetings because I cover higher education. I go to public meetings revolving around like the universities and how they're governed and how they're spending their money and how they're making the decisions they're making and why. We're there basically to represent the public and to kind of ask questions like, why are you doing this? And, why are you spending money this way? Or why have you made this decision? And if there are decisions that, seem unjust, we can ask questions about those too. And we look for public documents that we can request and, investigate and research and talk to people. And if you hear, rumors or gossip about something, you try and find out if it's true. Obviously, as a reputable news source, we don't just publish gossip or rumors. You have to really find out what is true and make sure you have verifiable sources and all of that good stuff. So you end up talking to a lot of people. So there are stories where you can go and talk to community members. So I really like to do stories for underrepresented community members. I'm Latina and I'm a first generation college student, so I love giving voices to underrepresented members of our community. So that's great when I can tell stories that help, vulnerable people in the community, or I can tell stories that are inspiring or helpful resources about like how to vote, or I've told stories about sexual assaults on campuses that have raised awareness about the issue, or how few minority students are on campus to raise that issue and talk to a lot of on campus. And then there are stories where you get to hold authority figures accountable. So, you get to ask hard questions of our politicians, our elected officials, the governor. I talk to university presidents and ask them why they're spending their money this way or why they've made so and so decision. And once you start doing that and you develop sources and people call you and say like, I have a tip for you, this unjust thing is happening, I would like you to look into it. And then you research and talk to a bunch of people and you write it up. It's a great job. Every day is something new. Some drawbacks are because I'm sure there's so much news all the time. It is a job it's really hard. I mean, you're kind of working a lot. You work really long, hard hours. It can be really exhausting and draining, particularly when you're covering sad things. A lot of the news lately is not very uplifting. So that can be hard. I've covered the protests for Black Lives Matter in downtown Denver, and it can just be really sad to see people suffering and see people in pain. And I've been tear gassed at the protests. So yeah, it can be really difficult, but I don't know what other job I would want to do. I absolutely love having this front row seat to history. And if it's something that sounds interesting to you, I would get into, if there's a student newspaper you can do. I would read a lot of journalism, so definitely make sure you're reading reputable news sources. I think local news like the Denver Post or your local newspaper is oftentimes your best resource to find out what's going on in your community. Um, and I would definitely look into, if you're interested, um, your college newspaper and majoring in journalism, so you can kind of learn some of the tricks of the trade in doing that. And internships are a huge thing. So once you're in college and you kind of have a little bit of experience on your student newspaper, you're going to want to apply for internships. So I interned at the Boulder Daily Camera in the when I was in school at the University of Colorado Boulder, and then I did a summer internship in St. Paul, Minnesota at the St. Paul paper. And then my senior year at CU, I interned at the Denver Post, and I got hired, which was kind of the dream. So yeah, I think journalism is just such an interesting career to go into. You learn so much, and you really do have a front row seat to history, and you get to write about it every single day. So it's very fulfilling, and you feel like you're doing a public good by keeping your community informed. So yeah, if you have any other questions, you can find me on Twitter. My handle is at Hernandez. So that's Hernandez, and my DMs are open if you ever have questions about journalism, or you just want to read what the Denver Post is covering lately. Thank you.